First, to the latest coming in from Texas, where the Supreme Court has rejected a petition to throw out more than 127,000 votes that were cast at drive-thru locations in Harris County in Houston. This petition was filed by 2 Republicans and a state representative. They were seeking to invalidate nearly 127,000 drive-thru votes. The lawsuit contended that the drive-thru voting sites in Houston were operating illegally and arranged in locations that favored the Democrats. The court did not issue an opinion with the ruling. Conservative activists have been rallying against expanded voting access in Harris County. Over 1.4 million early votes have already been cast there. Harris County is a crucial battleground in Texas, where Trump and the Republicans are bracing for the closest election in decades. Harris County has set up 10 drive-thru voting locations for early voting. These 10 sites were connected to traditional polling locations. As of the 30th of October, nearly 127,000 votes had been cast at those drive-thru sites, which marks roughly 10% of the votes cast in person during the early voting period. Joining us live on the broadcast is our correspondent Sarah Walton from Florida. Sarah, the Republicans have raised serious allegations over several aspects of the voting process, but failing each step of the way to back those claims with evidence. Why would they go to such lengths to question the electoral process, that to take the fight to the courts without evidence?
Well, this comes down to just how close we expect this election to be, not just in Texas, but really right across the United States. This is a very divided country, and although there are many states that can reliably be expected to support either Donald Trump or Joe Biden, there are a number of what they call key swing states where the registered support for those candidates is pretty much equal. So at this late stage in the game, just a day before the final day of the election, it's not really about changing people's minds. It's about turnout and getting those votes counted, or in some cases, not counted. Now, what we're going to see in many cases in different counts across the country is the tallies perhaps showing an early lead for one party over another. So, for example, here in Florida, postal votes, which in some parts of the country maybe take some time to vote, will actually be tabulated very quickly. Florida has a long history of being able to, of having postal votes here, so they feed them all into a machine, and on the night they press a button and they get the figures. Now, pollsters are telling us, and studies have shown, that the people most likely to vote via a postal vote and to cast their vote early will be Democrats. So when that number is spit out on election night, it will seem that the Democrats have an early lead here in Florida. However, Republicans more likely to cast their vote in person, and those votes in Florida will be counted slightly later, so that the Republican vote could then catch up later. That's the case in Florida, but in other states like Pennsylvania, that count will be done the other way around. So there is a situation where it may look like Republicans have an early lead, and that is why in places like Pennsylvania, for example, there is a suggestion, and Donald Trump himself has told reporters today that he may use the legal system here to try and stop any votes being counted after Election Day, to halt that count before all the votes have been counted, in the hope that it's Democrat votes that are not for him, that are left out. And it just shows the fact that this is going to the courts and may well continue to be fought in the courts in the days ahead, just how contentious this election has become.
All right, this is a crucial battleground in Texas. Explain to our viewers the significance of this setback for the Republicans.
Apologies, I couldn't quite hear your question there, but just to tell you a little bit more about Texas, why there is so much focus on Texas. Texas is a Republican state. It's always been thought of as a Republican state. Not this time. This time there is a chance that Joe Biden may be able to take Texas. Now, if that happens, that would be huge. I mean, Texas comes with a lot of electoral votes for a start, but more it's what message that portrays, that if a state like Texas, which has long been seen by Republicans as their stronghold, were to flip to Joe Biden, I mean, that would, be the symbol of a huge step change here in the US.
Record number of early voters. That figure is now inching closer to double the number in 2016. What is the latest on that front?
you're right, sort of nearly 92 million people having cast their vote across the United States, either in person or with a mail-in ballot. Many more mail-in ballots expected this year round than in past elections, and that is because of the coronavirus, with a number of people who are concerned about coming out to vote in a public place, sending their ballot in. It's very hard to really read into what we are seeing from those early ballots. And we know that somewhere, for example, here in Florida, that of those early ballots cast, 42% of them have come from registered Democrats, and a lower number, 30%, have come from Republicans. But as I said before, pollsters actually say that Republicans are far more likely to vote on the day. Donald Trump is saying that his supporters are going to go out and actually vote on the day. So it may be that Republicans catch up when it gets to polling day tomorrow on Tuesday. We also don't really know who they're voting for. Many people register their party affiliation, so we know what party they are affiliated to, but we don't know if that is who they are definitely voting for. What we can say is that the early turnout for people is certainly showing the enthusiasm that people have for this election this time round, how keen people are to have their say and to make sure their vote is counted.
Indeed, we're going to leave it there for the moment. Sarah, thanks very much for those inputs.